All right, I do want to give you an Irma update right now. An official hurricane watch for South Florida and the Keys. Governor Rick Scott there activating 3,000 now additional National Guard members. And separately, we're hearing that the Senate is ready to vote on a debt deal that will include that Harvey aid. Remember, this was the deal that combined a commitment to extend the debt, raise the debt through December 15th, get that monkey off the immediate back of legislators, as well as provide Harvey aid and deal with that around Christmas time. Now, that might be in the eye of the beholder whether that's a good or bad thing, but President Trump does want to address this on a more permanent way and permanent fashion by looking at maybe just ending this whole charade with raising the debt limit every 14, 15 months, whatever it is, and finding a permanent solution to avoid that, along with Chuck Schumer, that has been kicked around. In the meantime, the reaction to all of this, the Office of Management and Budget Director, Mick Mulvaney. Sir, very good to have you. What did you think? A lot of your colleagues, including the Treasury Secretary, seemed initially surprised, have since rallied around President Trump to say, well, this does clear the decks for tax cuts, so good by me. Are you in that camp?
I am. In fact, if you stop to think what the priorities are right now for the administration, number one priority is Houston, number two is Florida, and the number three is the tax reform package. So clearing the decks and getting these things out of the way for now was, I think, the right call and allows us to focus on what's important not only to the administration, but to the folks that the president represents. So, yeah, no, I think it was a good call. And looking forward to focusing on these priorities right now instead of the stuff that can wait until December.
All right, but many of your old colleagues from the Freedom Caucus, of which you were a member before you moved up to your fancy-schmancy job now, what they're saying, Director, is, I'm quoting David Bazell, the president for America, who said, these are the moments that can derail President Trump's presidency. Still, Adam Brander from FreedomWorks. Talk about burning bridges with the grassroots. And then this famous headline in Breitbart News, the website, Meet the Swamp. But the president let him down. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't get it. I used to be a member of the House Freedom Caucus, and I remember arguing many times for shorter-term debt ceiling increases. So in many ways, I'm surprised that the right wing of the party has not been more receptive to this concept. It gives them more time to make their case, gives them another chance to have the debate in December. All we simply did is move this out of the way for now so that we could run the government during these very critical times. I don't think, I'm not a climate guy, but I'm telling you that I don't think we've ever had two major hurricanes hit the country in the same week. So there's other priorities right now, and moving it off to December is not burning any bridges. It's not meeting the swamp. It's simply looking at the realities of the day and say, look, we have to run the government. This is our priority this week. We're going to see to these things. We're going to see to the hurricanes, start tax reform, and we'll deal with these other issues in December.
This idea that the president is talking to Senator Schumer about, just ending this whole debt ceiling nonsense, that might be very palatable. The Republicans and Democrats in the past have talked about that, maybe yourself included, sir. But it seems like he's doing all the talking to top Democrats and not top Republicans who seem genuinely shocked. Should they have been genuinely shocked?
Look, let's face the political reality of where we are right now, which is that the debt ceiling right now needs 60 votes in the Senate. The continuing resolution to keep the government open needs 60 votes in the Senate. The funding for the hurricanes, for Harvey and Irma, needs 60 votes in the Senate. So I think it's kind of absurd to think that we're not going to be talking to the majority leader in the Senate, the Democrat leader in the Senate, in order to get these things done. So no, I think we continue to work with both folks. Certainly the media has focused the fact that he's actually met with Mr. Schumer and Mrs. Pelosi, but certainly we're talking to everybody on both sides of the aisle because we have to.
No, I definitely can relate to what you're saying. Of course, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. The media was the first thing, you got to work with the other side, so he works with the other side and said, look what you're doing to your own side. So I understand that. But, you're also one of the biggest fiscal hawks I know, and you don't like waste anywhere you see it. It just seems odd to me, sir, that in agreeing to increase the debt ceiling, that attached to it was a spending measure, albeit an important one for emergency relief. But nevertheless, that could have been just a clean bill, a clean vote, and it would have gotten bipartisan support anyway. So are you troubled that this sets the stage for similar such attachments, in this case for spending, not for cutting that spending?
No, look, actually, I think one of your basic premises there, Neil, is not entirely accurate. We actually sent a letter last week to the Hill asking for the additional spending, what we call the supplemental spending for FY17, and in that same letter said, and by the way, we think you need to address the debt ceiling at the same time because we were cutting it so close anyway on the debt ceiling. I think Secretary Mnuchin has been on the show several times saying how close we were cutting it already, just getting to the end of September, when the reality is September 14th, 15th, right before those tax payments come in, was actually cutting it close as well. So we think the responsible thing to do was to look at the supplemental spending and the debt ceiling at the same time.